Yeah, David Dredd of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to Lion Voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
Well, from to us a son was born and a child was given.
I want to ask you a question. Have you got your book? Haile Selassie's Ethiopia Volume 1, The Rise of the Priest Warrior King. I've read the book in its entirety, and I must say it's very inspirational, very informative, and very historical, right?
Them call him Christopher when he was born, rainfall from the sky. Them call him Christopher when he was grown in airplanes he fly. They call him Christopher lion break the chain, beat not, don't cry. Them call him Christopher read the Revelation chapter 5 verse 5. Then born near the city of Harar, the inspiration for Bob Marley's guitar. People crowd him like some big superstar. It no matter if England. The second beast was given the power.
But you see, one must also recognize that there has been consistent effort by non-Africans to destroy the OAU and other unions that African people try to move on. Why? Yeah. You see, people must still remember, you know, don't forget history fire. When the man split up Africa in the 1800s, the late 1800s. How 1880, the Berlin Conference.
1884 to 85. 1884 to 85.
And the guy must split up Africa fire. Remember, say, we just come out of industrial revolution. And where's the place that have the abundance of resources that can supply industrial development? Is that Europe? It's Africa. So I've looked at the development agenda and see why Africa becomes central to all of these people, you know. Seeing? And right after them do that now, coming in the early 1900s, they have World War I. Because, you know, the European people can't work together. Them as a war each other to try to get places. Yes. Other people, most of the time, a war over other people country, you know, it's not about for them country, a war, no. They might create war over other people places, you know.
Yeah, proxy wars.
Yeah, man, check it out, man. Yeah, it's always the next man place in a war over because they want to control the resources that are there. And when them can't control it, both of them agree for this as the place because they don't want the place develop. See, and
they also want to get the resources at basement prices.
Exactly.
So they can exchange firearms for the resources.
Exactly. Yes. So fuel those things. See? So you check it now. So if they come out of World War I, here comes a youth named Marcus Garvey now. A young bright youth see what go on and say the war done and his beer ship the boat. But he also go in a time when I hear the man matter about Africa as a place where everybody have to try to control. So he said to himself, so what, I could buy some ship. And we establish our own trade as African peoples across African nations. And just as World War I ended, and now, like today, we have this war being discussed. There's also the disease with the Spanish flu, like how you have the COVID-19. And Marcus Garvey set up him thinking between 1914 and 1921, I below him immune. And last year I worked in Africa, and I support the Marcus Garvey I do. So it's nothing. It's not always see the eye as a youth, you know. Because that's why more people recognize that we have to know the role we are playing in history, you know. Just as how they are them right now, I do some work in Ghana and I push this African agenda. As I said, works Marcus Garvey that in the same 1920s, no fire.
Yes,
like when 2020 now, you know.
Yes, sir.
So so if you look at the mirror, so right now is that Marcus Garvey and the UNIA is Rastafari doing the work that Marcus Garvey was doing 100 years ago at the turn of that century. See?
And I want to tell you, as a brethren who back and forth to Ghana, is a lot of African American who are really leading the chant for the return home. There are a lot of ones from the UK who are leading the charge. And even though Rastafari has been there, and Rastafari, you know, in Ghana, you see His Majesty Itrid on the minibus them, which they call the chow them, and you see Rastafari imagery in the place. I would hope to see a more structured presence of I from the West
Highly.
in that charge, which we know is coming still, you know. But right now, I can't say that because it's a lot of, what we would have called ballad brethren where lead the charge. And this is why I want to talk to the eye about repatriation. What is Rastafari place? Because I reason with a sister, daughter Aini from the Bingy House, the last Lion Talk. And she said she feel like the movement abandoned repatriation, a lot of ones.
No, let me show you some fire.
Uh-huh.
All right. You know what I grew and see that Rastafari is a liberty that sets example.
Yes.
For the globe to follow. Yeah, it's a liberty that sets an example for the globe to follow. And so it's a gateway. Rastafari is a gateway, like a stargate. Highest class is a path towards enlightenment.
All right.
And so
take us up there.
Rastafari go gates. That's enough for our brother. Ballad or not ballad will come in and do them work. So
Yes,
that's
sir.
not profession. See? So sometimes I find the man who is so busy opening the gate. Never take the time for the gate open to go through and set him own establishment. Because he always keep the gate open for other people and things still. See? So I am saying to the I know fire. The absence of that solid economic foundation that Rastafari should set is not necessarily a failure. It's a reflection of the commitment of INF to keep the gate open so others can come through.
Okay.
But I say, well, we keep the gate open. We never start this over to take them. We can't keep the gate open all the while.
Yes.
But that's the approach. So I am saying to the IFI, most people in the world will not know about Africa. Or anything about Africa without Rastafari and reggae music.
It's true. It's true.
So that's how we keep the gate open. So even a guy who's not Rastafari from America or England can say, yo, remember Africa.
We sounded the trumpet globally.
I will consider sound the trumpet. It's not because it's one time.
Although me want to hear some more repatriation song from the artists them. Remember, say me know enough of them too, Me want to hear some more repatriation song them. Because the eye them look like it's a wobble a little bit right now. You know what I mean?
So the fullness, repatriation is twofold. As above, so below.
Yes, sir.
Physical, metaphysical. So I have promoted repatriation metaphysically because they can see how people embrace that Africanness, etc.
Yes.
But the physical element now is very important.
Very
important. And repatriation don't necessarily mean say you repatriate. I'm not coming forward, I'm not coming to the Caribbean, I'm not going to America.
Exactly.
It means you have to establish a base in the context of Africa. Because remember that say, if I say myself as Ethiopian, Ethiopia is not a place, a physical place. Look. Ethiopia is a philosophy that governs the earth. So that's why everybody, the Ethiopians, the Greek guy, them call the Ethiopians the sunburned faces. But it's not Africa, the sunburned faces. All over the earth, you have people.
All over the earth. And remember that before the war, after his majesty returned to Ethiopia, that he really used that word sound. Because remember, it's Abyssinia. They used to chant internationally, and even putting forward that sound Ethiopia was a statement, a unification and a trumpet to the black people of the world, because that word sound was always associated with not just that geographic space, but it was associated with black people everywhere.
That's how we know. Before Ethiopia, you'd have Atlantis, but it's the same people. I might have Lumeria. When you check them, you find it's the same stuff people. But the consciousness that on the earth, you get a different name.
Yes.
But people black to them blue. So I know I people them same way. So the whole repatriation thing is crucial. I think even now, this is even more crucial. Because remember, that was part of the program but Marcus gave that push to when and the program I sliced that push. That's why I'm going to land in a Sashamani. But the guys in Europe they see it as a challenge because it means if black people that work together with each other, they wouldn't have the domination of Africa by white people that have the domination today. And I'm saying 100 years now after the same thing re-emerges because Europe back is against the wall. And so they have a problem with China because China is a direct competition to them now to try to get the resources out of Africa.
Yes.
See? So the only problem with China through China is now threatening for them access to the resources, Yes, may I say,
Yes,
so
sir.
I know that African people know, say, Virgin, There's a natural synergy amongst I and I from the diaspora and those in the continent.
Natural.
I and I bridge builders.
I can testify to that. I can testify in a real life what I say. There's connection. And the other thing that we have to recognize is that, as the I said, there was the Spanish flu, which we could say is COVID. Then there was the Roaring 20s, which was a party time. You know, people, you know, economic boom. There was a bubble. And then they had the Great Depression, 1930. The first co-ed school, the first co-ed school in Ethiopia was established by the UNIA family, the Abbey Dr. Ford. I can't remember the Belgian first name, but his son was a professor at Howard University, Abbey Ford, who has since passed. But his parents, you know, they wrote the UNIA anthem. They were from Barbados, established, and what he told I and I is that the UNIA members, a lot of them had started repatriating to Ethiopia in the early 30s. And then when the invasion happened, enough of them flee and came back to the West. You know, his family stayed. But so the Europeans saw that when His Majesty said that he had tried to recruit Black Americans first because he didn't want too much white people in the country to, because Ethiopians were distrustful of foreigners. But then the State Department started lockdown and they stopped granting passports, and there was a lot of sabotage to stop the black people of the world. Because His Majesty did really, in reality, you know, call the people them home for build Zion, you know. He really did do that in a real life, and people have to study that. There's
a book named Ethiopia, the Missing Link, and the Missing Bible, Reverend M. Means, where it says when the war that going to Ethiopia, whoop up black people in France and them places, line up for going to Ethiopia because support. I see, well, I can see now as I say, all these people have an agenda. So they want them control the whole flow of Africans out of America into Africa. See? And actually, in a sense, sabotage.
They're trying to delay the inevitable, you know.
And
they know the prophecy, they know what's going to happen, but they're trying to delay it as long as possible to extract as much resource as they can. It's like a parasite on the earth, you know, where I try extract what them can. Them know so them time done, you know. From His Majesty come step on the bomb and show them say a joke behind them a joke, you know. Them know so them thing crash.
And it might sound away, but I almost kind of empathize with them people, because we check the news for the past 3, 4, 5 years in Italy, in England, in France, really, more than 1,000 people in each of those countries die every summer from sunstroke, you know.
Yeah, man.
Sun alone I kill them in over here. The sun I kill them. So I tell you, no, say, Earth I reach a stage now whereby if you have a high carbon endowment, if you're high melanated, you find yourself in problems. See? So if a man is almost like you become an alien. Because if you cannot live in the most natural environment, in a most natural way, it means you're not from that space.
Okay.
So it's a thing we are reaching where African people, I mean, anybody, as Tash there said, no matter where you come from, as long as he's a black man, he's an African. African people everywhere across the globe have to recognize that and will recognize that. See? And know, say, Virgin, you can't give away a continent for an island. See? And even if you not think, say, yeah, but they will live, you have to know, say, the yard.
The second beast was given the power to give breath unto the image of the first beast so that the image could speak, and caused all who refused to worship the image to be killed. It also forced the people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive the mark on their right hands and in their forehead. Gone down in the new world order, have to work harder, have to pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell, that's the new slave ship. New world order, have to work harder. harder, I feel pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip and them video game that's new matrix. It's a new world order, them start bleaching. Diverse doctrine, them start preaching. Angels for the stars they reaching. They're falling, never hear the lion calling. New world order, them fight against the poor. Machine and robot that sweep them floor. Machine and robot that run them stores. So them create disease ones without any cure. The new world order, new world order. I feel work harder, I feel pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip and them prison cell that's the new slave ship. New world order, new world order. I feel work harder, I feel pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip and them video game that's the new matrix. It's a new world order. Them pan cell phone. Families don't even talk in their home. Village farmers get murdered by drones. Village mistress get murdered by stones. New world, so you better call Tyrone. Tell him prepare to use the whole earth a war zone. New world, Satan must feed the throne. So we must exit us and leave him alone. In the new world order, new world order. I feel work harder, I feel pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip and them prison cell that's the new slave ship. New world order, new world order. I feel work harder, I feel pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip and them video game that's the new matrix. It's a new world order. Check the energy, make it so hard we go have a family.